Hello, everyone, and welcome to the PaizoCon 2019 live session of the Oblivion Oath.
Woo.
I am your host. Yes, thank you.
There is an audience here.
We need a canned laughter button.
Yeah, we are playing today in front of a live studio audience. And today what we're going to be doing is we're going to do a short little session. And then after that, we're going to open it up to Q&A for folks who are in the room and for folks who are out there in Twitch. So stay tuned, folks. We're gonna have some fun. I want to note for those of you who've been watching Oblivion Oath, who are maybe all caught up, maybe you're not all caught up. You don't have to worry about it. This episode is occurring in the past. Not the present, not the future, which is really quite good because as you've heard in our recent broadcasts, we are currently on kind of a weird break. We pre-recorded a number of episodes, and in fact, we have recorded more episodes than you have seen. So if we were going to do a live session here at the show, it would be a thing that would have no context for any of you, and we couldn't broadcast it. So
but it's okay because classically speaking, everyone loves prequels. There
That's
are no
right.
famous, badly received prequels. So.
Wait till I start adding CGI characters.
He said Pickle's gonna die?
Don't go there. All right. So I think we are all ready to get started here. Our narrative today opens up in the town of Loomes. That's right. We're back before 4 brave heroes got on the sleepy sea cat.
So the sea cat is not sleepy yet.
It is not sleeping with the fishes yet.
Is it drowsy?
Spoiler alert. So this is that morning in Loomes. The first person I'm going to start with is Qundle. Qundle, you are waking up under a bridge.
Is there a troll?
There is not a troll.
There's a goblin, though.
Where?
In fact, there are a handful of goblins sleeping underneath this particular bridge. The goblins in Loomes, there's a small population. Many of them live in houses and live ordinary lives, but you're a traveler here, and you had a terrifying dream last night that led you to think that you saw a great deal of flames over the city of Loomes, and it doesn't feel safe here anymore, and you're thinking it's time to go.
I'll shake the goblin nearest me. We should go.
I'm still sleeping.
Someone's going to destroy the city. We should go.
Well, they said that last week.
And if they destroy the city next week, it'll still have been true.
Oh, that's fair.
All right, I'm sorry. I forgot I was dealing with. We should go. People are going to try and make you read things.
The goblins all kind of all their ears kind of perk up, and they're like, "What?"
No, there are people wandering around with placards, and they show them to you and tell you what they say, and if you know what you say is when you see it, then you're reading it. It's dangerous. We should flee.
Come on, we should go.
Good, everyone out. Come on, let's find a way out of the city.
So the goblins, and you're not like related to these goblins or anything like that. These are just goblins who are in the city who you ended up kind of bunking with.
Which is why they're not trying to kill me.
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah. They do look at you funny because you are strangely hued for a goblin, and your eyes are kind of creep them out. But on the whole, whatever. One of them is missing an ear entirely, and so they're a downtrodden lot down here. And you begin casting about to look for ways to get out of the city. I suddenly just realized he could be like, "Yep, we just walked south," and now I'm like, "Oh, I have a time paradox now."
No. The city's going to burn. Qundle wants to leave by water. He feels
that's a good
moved
call.
to leave by water to be safe from the fire.
No, that's a good call.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for that. You go with the goblins down to the docks, and there is a dwarf there selling tickets to a barge that's about to leave this afternoon, Don't feel bad for him. He's a dwarf. And you make your way up to him, and he's like, "I'm nearly out of tickets. What do you want?"
A ticket?
What's your name?
Qundle? White
All right.
Mane? I'll pay full price for a ticket, but I'm small, so I won't take up much room.
Aw, callback joke. He goes, very well, I'll write you down. I'm first mate Pembroke Cremp. Here's your ticket.
I'll take the ticket.
Yeah. And you kind of walk away, and the next goblin comes up in line and is like, we're all sold out. And the other goblins all look at you.
You should all walk south.
Good idea. I saw someone with a signboard. We better go quick.
It's cheaper.
All right. So Qundle, you're now kind of loitering in the dock area. There's a fishmonger there who's selling what looks like yesterday's catch. It's kind of smelling up the place, but the docks are slowly getting full.
Is he selling all the fish, or is he chopping the heads off and selling the rest?
He's chopping the heads off and selling the rest. Yeah.
So what's he doing with the heads?
Oh, they're in a bucket next to.
How much for the bucket of fish heads?
You go up to the surly fishmonger, and this is kind of a swarthy guy in a dirty apron, covered in fish guts and blood, and he just kind of wipes off his hands, and you're like, how much for the head? He's like, a copper.
I give him a copper.
All right, he hands you a whole bucket of fish heads.
I go running after the other goblins.
Okay.
Guys?
Yeah, they're like,
guys?
What? And they all have their bindles, and they're walking south.
Okay, it's one fish head per bindle. Come on.
All right.
You'll need food.
All right, so you begin distributing them. Next up, Carina.
Yes.
You arrived in Loomes only a few days ago, and have been staying at an inn with what meager coins you have left. And just a few days ago, you bought passage to finally leave the city. And you're waking up that morning, and it's the day of the journey. The inn itself is a run-down place. It was what you could afford. The nicer inns towards the center of town were outside your price range. So this one has, you wake up and you're on a really lousy bed with a kind of a straw mat that's really lumpy, and your door's lock was really just a rope that was nailed to the wall that you would tie around the door.
It's the worst place you've ever slept up to this point in your history.
It could never be worse than this.
You can't imagine.
There is no way you could ever end up staying in an establishment that is worse than this. It's impossible.
What does my life become?
What was that?
What does my life become?
Yeah, I know. Well, fortunately, you have your ticket to a barge called the Sleepy Sea Cat that you bought just 2 days ago, and you know that boat is planning on leaving today from the docks.
Well, I think what time does it supposed to leave?
It's supposed to leave in the afternoon.
And what time is it now?
It's probably I don't know. Is Carina's kind of staying up late, so.
Well, she's probably a morning person.
Well, we established that you stay up late on the boat, so I'm wagering that you're a little bit more of a night owl, but it's up to you.
I don't know.
Well, let's just say it's like 9 in the morning or something. Yeah.
Are there any places that dedicated to Pharasma around that I could visit?
In Loomes? Yeah, sure. There's at least a small shrine, probably out near the graveyard. That's definitely a place where there would be a shrine to Pharasma. Would be out near where they hold funeral services and stuff.
I think Carina would probably head out that direction and maybe pick up some food on the way, street food.
Sure.
Grab a snack on the way.
All right, so you gather up what belongings you have. You have so few meager belongings. You put them in your pack. They will surely be safe there. And
Truly.
And you make your way through the city, and you find a street vendor selling lamb on lamb kebabs on a stick. That you pick up a pair of those, and they're delicious. Well seasoned. They're really quite good. And
Savor it.
Yeah, no. Delicious.
You couldn't mistake the flavor for anything else.
Yeah, cooked fresh this morning, just the right amount of salt. They're great. And
You're truly at peace.
yeah. The one thing I realized is that we have to be careful because we've done things that none of them have seen. So we have to be careful about
So when
where
we all start laughing and nobody else gets it.
I think we're past this.
We're good so far, yeah.
We're good so far.
Very important.
Yeah. So you make your way to the shrine of Pharasma, and there is an elderly priestess tending the chapel, and in the middle there is a body that is being prepared for burial, probably later on that day. It looks like, unfortunately, the person died in a fire, and the body is in pretty bad shape. The priestess is gently taking a cloth and wiping away the soot and the burns and wrapping up the burnt arm in linen so that it's more respectful.
Sure. Well, I think Carina, since she has a few hours to spare, might offer to help and see. I mean, we had kind of known there were some suspicious fires in the area, so maybe see if there's any information that I could get from the caretaker.
All right. So you begin helping the caretaker, and she sees your holy symbol, and she says, "Blessings of Pharasma upon you, sister. Yes, you may, of course, help. I would appreciate it. This poor soul died just yesterday, on its way to its just reward in our Lady's embrace." And she begins talking to you about how the fires in the city. It's late summer, so it's already very hot in Loomes. Loomes is a port town, and that helps. But the heat has just been rolling off the mainland, and it is sweltering in the city, and these fires have been sparking up everywhere. And she kind of says, it is quite odd they keep happening in warehouses and things on the outskirts of town. It almost seems too common in certain districts to be pure chance. So I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Today is the day.
Okay.
The day the two of you have been planning in quiet 4 weeks now. For you, Mikah, your day started out very early with your master demanding that you empty his bedpan and clean up his room as he was getting dressed. You've seen way too much of this bony old man, and he's getting dressed and preparing to go meet one of his former students, as he does every week on this day, meaning that he's going to be gone the entire morning. A critical detail.
Yes. Okay.
So he looks at you with kind of a sneer and is just like, "Yes, and make sure to get it all this time. You left some in the bedpan yesterday."
Of course, I'm sorry.
And he kind of grabs his staff with his gnarled, bony fingers, and he's already finished preparing his spells for the morning, and he puts his spell book on the table and leaves.
Okay. I kind of do a little bit of cleaning and tidying, and I'm going to look out the window and just make sure I see him leave.
Halfway down the street, you see the old, gnarled man as he makes his way down the road. You see him pass there's like a beggar child, and he kind of knocks at the kid with his staff and continues on his way.
Rude. Okay, well, knowing that no one else is in the room, I'm going to kind of slip the book off of the table and hoist it under my arm and head down to meet Zell.
All right. So you steal his spellbook and leave.
I do that.
Another way of saying it.
That's the thing that I do. I just put it under my arm. Maybe I'm polishing it.
Continual.
Sure.
Yeah.
Remote does.
It didn't seem safe there anymore, so I liberated it.
Yes.
Gotta watch out for those. Front class.
Zell,
Yes.
You wake up in the back room of the kind of flop house that you share with you and your brother, Vis. Vis has been awake for hours now, and he just came back in. You were woke up by him slamming the door shut.
Oh, great.
And he looks at you and he says, "Get up! Change of plans today."
No. What? What's the change of plans?
I was just out talking to the Bone Men, and they've got us a tasty score.
Terrific. That's great. Do we have to really keep dealing with them?
Listen, if you can find a better way to get all the bones we need, you let me know.
I'm still looking into it.
If you want to go raid the graveyard, that's fine.
No.
But they've got a good shipment coming in, and we need to go unpack it. It's going to take all afternoon.
Oh.
You know that the barge leaves this afternoon.
All afternoon? Really? Okay. I'll meet you there. Let me just get my stuff together.
He's like, he kind of looks at you. Well, I mean, we could just go together. We can wait.
I have a dress on order, and I need to pick it up. And it has been quite rare. It's a rare dress, rare materials. I need to pick up this dress. And I'll be there, I promise.
How many times do I have to tell you those pants and those dresses look ridiculous on you?
Oh, I think they look... Okay, sure.
Well, whatever. He's like, okay, go get your dress and then meet me out near the cemetery.
Out near the cemetery. Got it. I will definitely not be late.
Very good.
Yes.
And he turns around. His sinuous tail is the last thing you see leave the door.
All right. I'll quickly gather my stuff together and try and sneak out the front, if possible.
All right. So you gather up all your stuff and make your way to the alley rendezvous spot that you and Mikah arranged for this morning. And when you arrive, you find Mikah is already there.
Well, sorry I'm late.
It's okay. He left. He said he'd be gone for a long time, so we've got time to go.
My brother wanted me to help with the Bone Men and getting more bones for this whole thing they're doing togetger. So yeah, let's get out of here.
That's why we're leaving, so we should do that.
Did you take his spell book?
Maybe.
Oh. do you know how to use it?
A little bit.
Sounds good. Let's go.
Okay.
All
It'll
right.
be fine.
You're fine.
The two of you quickly move off, making your way toward the docks. Back over here. You shies away from my attentions. You you've given out fish heads to the goblins, and now you're just able to kind of take it easy and relax. The boat isn't leaving for a few hours. You don't really have anything you need to do. You notice that there's a lot of people gathering here at the docks. There's a family with 2 kids.
Okay.
They're over on one side. You see an elderly knight who has arrived and is wandering around.
I'm sure that will not be relevant to my life.
No, I'd say he's just this old dude.
You should ask him a question.
Oh, God. Really?
It's a key part of her personality.
Where's that box of curses?
I can't take you guys anymore. All right.
This is why we don't have nights.
Yeah. And,
We have derailed the GM.
yeah, you've already ruined everything. All right.
It's a real time saver.
Yeah, no, it helps. So there is a man who has come up to the fishmonger and is currently arguing with him. He's yelling at him, screaming, "That fish I bought from you yesterday made my daughter sick. I don't want to hear about it." He's arguing, "I want my money back." And he's really yelling at him.
Don't get involved, don't get involved, don't get involved, don't get involved. I might be able to help.
He's like, what do you want, runt?
Well, see, I'm a goblin, and so we're stupid and we eat rotten fish sometimes, so we have ways to fix that, and I could use those to make your daughter better.
What are you talking about? fixing my daughter with rotten fish heads. That's disgusting.
No, we eat rotten fish heads, so we know what happens when you get a bad fish, and I could use that knowledge to help your daughter. Unless you have a better doctor option at the moment.
He looks at you. You're a doctor?
I have read many manuals that were dropped off by caravans on their way to Kermagat. Or at least part of them.
He's looking at you funny. He's like, give me a diplomacy check.
Doctor.
It's late, it's Sunday, D20s look weird. All right. I will roll a 1 and get a grand total of 8.
He's like, I don't need any help from you. And he just kind of pokes his finger at you, and he's like, I'll take my own counsel. And he kind of looks at the fishmonger, and he's like, I'll be back for you. And he kind of just storms off. The fishmonger's like, well, I told him it was day-old fish, and I gave him to him for almost nothing. It's not my fault.
You should flee the city, it's all gonna burn.
That's a good segue.
You notice this kid, this young girl with a book tucked under her arm is staring at you, and she's like, "When you told that man that the city's going to burn," and she's like, and goes running back to her father, and you see her brother over there, and he's kind of poking at her and yanking at her pigtail.
Don't get involved. I hide somewhere.
Awesome. So, Katina.
Oh, hello.
Or sorry, not Katina. Karina. Sorry.
Never
That's
mind.
a little bit confusing.
No. It's no. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
All right, Karina. You are out at the cemetery, and the elderly priestess has finished with the body and is currently interring it, and the family members have showed up. And I don't know if you want to be there for that, or if...
Do they have any positions open for, like, the paid mourners? I am really low on money.
I like how you're retroactively trying to give yourself money in the future. It's like, if I get paid here, then I can get money later. No, they have no positions available. but nice try. I appreciate that. That's good thinking. No, the family is obviously very poor, and they're it looks like many of them have burns. So it looks like the whole family might have been caught in the fire, and the patriarch, the father, passed away.
I'm going to assume that a funeral is a bad time to investigate questions about burning warehouses. So I think I'll probably just head towards the docks. I know that the ship is leaving from there, and is that kind of on the outskirts where things have been burning as well? Is that considered that area?
A little bit, yeah. There are some warehouses in that area that have burned. So you begin making your way to the docks. Give me a perception check.
Okay.
Just love. Sorry, your dad died. How suspicious was that fire?
7.
7.
Get lower.
This is not going well.
So Karina walks right past the alleyway, where there is a lizard folk talking to a number of human thugs who are loading crates of bone onto the back of a wagon. But you don't see it.
Okay.
I have to be careful not to turn this into just nothing but weird coincidences now. It's just like, everything's related. All right. So you begin making your way to the docks. Over here, Zell and Mikah, the two of you are making your way to the docks. And you're kind of trying to stay off the main streets as much as you can, but it's kind of impossible. And you're probably only a few blocks away when you hear his voice.
Puppies?
Girl, Mikah, is that you? And looking back through the crowd, you see your master. He's on this street, and he's only about like half a block away.
Oh, God.
You're not sure if he saw you conclusively or not, but your hair is so brightly colored that he might be assuming. What do you do? What do the two of you do?
Are there any alleyways or like stores to hop into? Or...
There are like shops that you could duck into. There's an alley that you could run down, but it's pretty empty. Like,
Okay.
and if he were to look down it, he might see you.
Yeah.
There's also crowds you could attempt to blend into.
Let's cheese it.
What does that mean?
Means we run.
This is not time for cheese.
That was no time for cheese.
It's always time for cheese. Yeah.
confirm.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I'm small, so I'm gonna kind of try and like dart through people. Can I also attempt to tone down my hair color while I'm doing that?
Yeah, you can do subtle shifts in your hair color to kind of change it.
Okay.
It requires a bit of concentration, but you can kind of do that as you move.
Okay.
Zell, what are you doing? I mean, this wizened old man isn't looking for you.
Right,
per
I'll
se.
try and like block, get behind or between them, so I take up a little bit more room
All
than
right.
Micah. So
All right. Okay, so you're kind of blocking the way, giving Micah some cover. Why don't you go and give me a stealth check?
Uh-oh.
me,
Micah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, go
I was
for it,
like-
Rogue.
I'm trying to be
No,
seen.
No, I'm going to give you a bonus just because Zell's running interference.
Oh boy. Okay. It'll be great.
So there's a lizard folk in the way. Does she get a scaling bonus?
Oh,
Yes.
This is what I put up with. All right.
You just gotta go, it's a living.
Yeah.
That's 11.
11.
Not great.
Okay, yeah, not great. He is pursuing. He thinks he
Oh.
sees you. He's like, girl, Micah, is that you? What are you doing out here?
I'm gonna make sure that this is hidden on the opposite side of wherever he is. So
Yeah,
we
he
can-
hasn't caught you yet. You
Okay,
can
yeah.
still try and do something else, but you haven't
I
lost
have
him
kind
either.
of a cloak, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna, put it in there and kind of
can we use
keep going.
acrobatics to like get through the crowd faster if I were to pick up Micah?
If you were
You'll have to toss me.
Micah. What's your strength, Zell?
12.
12? Well, Micah is small and relatively light. You could try that.
Let's try that.
All right. All right. Give me.
This is what cheesing it is.
This is a textbook example of cheesing it.
Cheese.
All right. So you pick up Micah and give me an acrobatics check to push your way through the crowd as quickly as possible.
Ooh.
Wow. What even is 26?
Well done. Yeah.
That's good cheese right
That's
there.
some good cheese.
I feel like maybe you've done this before. Just like, if I'm slow, kind of toddling along, you're like, well, here we go.
We got appointments.
Yeah.
So, the two of you go darting through the crowd. Zell is like he's like a river. He's just flowing through people, dodging left, dodging right, and within a moment, you've lost him. He doesn't know where you are. He's not following you anymore.
Woo, maybe warn me next time, but
Oh, sorry.
thank you. Thank you for that.
All right. So, back down at the docks, which is coincidentally where everyone has now arrived. Carina, you got there without really incident. You kind of made your way through the city. You did actually, because of the path you wanted to take, you did pass by one of the buildings that burned down. And the buildings next door look like they've taken a little char and a little bit of damage, but the building that burned is almost completely destroyed. There is little left of it. It looks like it was a business selling barrels. It's like a cooperage, a big kind of cooperage warehouse, and the whole thing's just burned to the ground. You arrive down at the docks, and there is the sleepy sea cat. They're not letting anyone on board yet. Everybody's still gathering and stuff. You can see a tall, proud woman making her way about. Also on the docks, there just recently arrived a wagon with a silent elf who just got off and is loading off a number of caskets that looks like they're about to be loaded up on the boat. So you are there. You are hiding.
Yep.
No one knows where you are
Good.
right now. Zell and Mikah, the two of you, have just finally got there, a bit out of breath.
Him mostly.
Yeah, him mostly. That is absolutely true. And all of you are just kind of milling about. Unless there's anything in particular you want to do.
I can't sweat. I need water.
We'll find you some water.
All right.
All right.
Oh, look, there's water.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular you wanted to do?
No, just kind of observe and wait around for the.
You see a number of people here. There's other boats also at the docks loading and unloading. This elderly knight keeps like getting up and looking around, like he keeps like looking to the crowd and not just kind of looks around and he kind of looks at people and he just kind of looks up and down and then he just sits back down and continues to look rather pensive. You're all hanging out there. You managed to go get some water. There's a rain barrel nearby, and you're able to get some water. And that's when the angry father returns with his two sons, and they have saps. Like I said, we'd be back. And the fishmonger's like, well, listen, I can give you a refund. And he's like, that's not going to be good enough now. And these three look like they're about to beat this fishmonger to within an inch of his life. And whether or not you're participating or not, at this point in time, I'm going to need you to roll initiative.
All right. Oh, that makes me sad.
Wow.
That's perception, right?
Yeah.
Unless you have a good reason for it to be something else.
Like someone hiding.
Yeah. For example, Qundle is hiding, so if you want to roll stealth, by all means, go ahead.
And if my stealth were better than my perception, I would. But since it isn't...
Well, the upside is if you roll stealth, you can start the combat hidden. If you don't roll stealth, you cannot.
All right, I'll use stealth.
All right. Okay, so does anyone got above 20?
No.
No.
No? All right. Anybody got above 15?
No.
What you got?
20. You said above 20.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. All right. Anybody else above 15? No? Anybody above 10?
Yeah, 12.
12. All right. Mikah, what do you got?
5.
5.
8.
Woo!
All right. Qundle.
Yeah.
You may go first.
Uh-huh. And I'm hiding.
Yes, you are hiding. No one seems to see you.
Wow. All right.
By the way, please don't die in the prologue. It's going to be a real problem for the rest of the story.
Well, that just would mean that this was KW Qundle, and Qundle with a Q will show up right afterwards, steal the ticket from his corpse.
Yeah, no, it's fair, yeah.
All right, I only have 2 realistic choices. Do nothing and watch this man who gave me fish heads get beaten, or try to defuse the situation, because if it's a fight, everyone will kill the goblin. So,
That's like step 2 in most fights.
I know step 1 in some of them.
Yeah.
What's in here? Well, there are 3 ogres, a goblin. We kill the goblin. People think we're monsters. So Qundle will pop up. You don't want to do that with a night watching, do you? And I will point to the old man.
Give me a let's call that an intimidate check.
Oh, sure. Let's call it the one I don't have. Yeah, let's do that. 14.
They are like, yeah, what's that old codger gonna do? And then one of them moves up to swing at the old man. We're doing this theater of the mind style, so he's like a move away. I will say that trying to intimidate him was one of your 3 actions. What would you like to do with the other 2?
Well, I'm aware how my own abilities work, and this is a terrible, terrible, terrible choice, but this man was nice to me, and I don't think he did anything wrong. So I shoot the guy with a divine lance. That's 2 actions.
Yeah, no,
That was quickly.
I will hit a 23.
that is a hit. Is this the father or one of his sons?
Which one was moving up with the sap?
The father.
Okay, then it's the father. Now, this is good damage.
Yeah.
So if he ain't evil, he ain't hurt. 8.
The ray hits him, and he doesn't seem to have been affected. He looks like an enraged man, but apparently he's not evil. But he is hit by a ray of light, and he looks at you and he's like, "Why, you little?" And he's
How did that happen? The docks must be cursed. You should flee.
Go north.
All right. So the thugs, which is what I will call them, the father.
Not in the ears, not in the ears, not in the ears.
You, and he's going to. He spends an action to move up toward you.
Okay.
He then spends an action to swing a sap at you.
Okay.
But I roll terribly, so he misses entirely. You duck just as he's swinging for your head. And he misses and will swing again, but it is equally bad. He's trying to beat you, but you're just like dodging out of the way. It's like whack-a-mole.
Probably got different barrels.
The other sons, the other 2 sons, advance on the fishmonger and begin attacking him. And they only hit him once, but he does kind of crumple from the blow, and he looks like he's been hurt. But these are saps; they're not super deadly weapons. It's more like, it's a bag of silver pieces, right? Probably copper.
Yeah, this is not a high enough end establishment to get beaten with silver pieces.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's like one of those fancy places where you get beat with a bag of platinum.
Well, that's because that costs extra.
Yeah, no, it does. It's true. All right, that was the thugs. Zell and Zell, you see this happening. I don't know that you're necessarily like street violence. Oh,
Yeah.
That's quaint.
That's interesting, but they're picking on this guy, and I want to get on this boat, and there's a fight happening.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna run up,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, gentlemen, I'm here on a cruise with my friend. Will you please, can't we resolve this like civilized people?
Says the lizard man.
They look really confused when the Eruxi comes up to them and is like, no, let's work this out.
Yeah, I'm like,
Talk
come
about
on
your
now.
feelings.
Yeah. Give me a. Yeah, it's hard to do diplomacy in the middle of a fight. So, give me a diplomacy check. This probably won't stop them, but it might change their attitude toward you at least for being
Okay.
out of the way.
Let's fight diplomacy.
23?
They're like out of the way. We don't have any
218.
quarrel with you, and they still look like they're intent upon beating this fishman, but this fishman. All of a sudden, morphed into a fishman.
They were right to beat him.
That's fair. Yes, I will help you now. And
As long as it's a background I don't like, yeah, go ahead, go for it.
no.
They're tasty.
They don't look like they're going to break from their strategy of beating this fishmonger. You've convinced them that they look like they're trying not to cause too much of a ruckus now. Like they're not swinging wildly. They're just like, well, this guy, he sold us bad fish.
God. I'm like, I'm going to have to insist that you stop beating this poor old person.
What are you going to do, lizard breath?
So, how many actions have I used?
We'll say 2.
2? All right.
Maybe 1 left.
I'm just gonna do my claws out and be like,
Schnick.
yeah, like please. I'm like, please let's not do this. You've already made your point. I'm sure he'll never sell bad fish again.
Now you can give me an intimidate check.
things, right?
I'm a lot worse at it than diplomacy.
Oh.
You can do it.
8. You don't want none of this.
You're scared of the claw.
It would have been more impressive if you weren't wearing a skirt.
Yeah, I know, man. I need my battle dress. I'm not wearing my battle dress.
I'm
Really
sorry.
nice one, though.
Yeah.
Karina, it is your turn. You see these thugs attempting to beat up a poor fishmonger.
Yeah, and the situation keeps getting worse as these like random people start.
It's like a
Getting
circus
involved.
over there. You don't even know what's happening.
If only we had a stern dwarf face.
I
to
know.
come in.
Karina's gonna walk over there and take her dwarven war axe and hit it on the ground and say, "Hey, stop it!"
Okay.
Can I do an intimidate check?
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be what that is. You're threatening them with a weapon.
23.
Resting door face.
Resting dwarf face.
All right. So one of the sons is just like, hey, I don't need any of that, and just drops his sap and he bolts from the fight. So he's gone. The other son is like, I don't have any quarrel with you. He's not retreating, but he's also not like disarming. He's just like, we don't have any quarrel with you. We have a quarrel with this man. He sold us bad fish. Meanwhile, the father's over there trying to hit a goblin that's like dancing around. You're not even sure what the goblin has to do with this, but he's beating on a goblin. I mean, that's sport to some, so it's fine.
I'm a little more concerned with the fish guy that has taken damage. That's unfortunate.
The fish guy.
So you're right. He your quarrel's not with me, but this is not an appropriate course of action for bad fish. You don't beat people for that. So please solve your problem reasonably and don't create issues down here at the docks.
He looks at you and he says, that was a very reasonable argument. Now I'm going to hit this man in the face with my sap.
For my third action, I will swing at him and say, no, I'm serious. You need to stop.
Oh! This got very serious.
So that's going to be a 24 to hit.
That hits.
I did try to get him to stop.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Extra, read all
Let's
about it.
not
Dwarf
resort to
murders 3 men on the docks.
violence.
Fish may have been involved.
5 damage.
5 damage. That like you like slice across his arm that's holding the sap, giving him this huge gash of a wound. He immediately drops the sap, grabs his arm, and is like, "Oh my god! I didn't think he was serious." And he is bolting from the fight. Mikah, this whole commotion is going on. A dwarf just nearly cut a guy's arm off. This whole thing has turned into a mess here at the docks. You have no idea if you're going to be able to get on the boat if this continues. It might cause a serious problem with the future storyline we're trying to tell. What do you do?
The time-space compendium is depending on you.
We need that book now.
This place is way more violent than I thought it was. So we need to go. Like, I think people are going crazy. And I'm like I'm looking around because I don't know.
There's only one person still fighting, and that's the like old father.
Yeah.
Who's trying to beat on a goblin.
Okay.
You think the goblin must be like the fishmonger's helper or something.
Okay.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Am I close enough to kind of get near him, and like how far away am I?
You're
there?
within a move. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of go and throw up my shield spell and kind of try and protect the goblin from the dad. Can I like insert myself between them?
Yeah, sure, you can do that. You kind of get in the way, and he's like, "Hey, get out of my way! This goblin's a charlatan.
Why are you picking on someone so small?
Interfering in my business." And then he looks over and sees his sons like running away, and he's like, "If you want a job done, you have to do it yourself." And he's turned away from you, and he's turned back to the fishmonger, and he sees his sons running, and one of them is clutching his arm, and he's like, "What the?" And he's very confused. but we are at the top of the order now with Qundle.
So you described our fishmonger as having an apron.
Yeah, dirty, filthy, like fish gut covered apron.
So he's gutting the fish here.
Yeah.
And when he guts them, he has those guts in a bucket?
That's another bucket. Yeah, it's a different bucket.
How-
That bucket costs more though.
So one move to go to the bucket.
Yeah.
Second move to grab the bucket.
Oh God.
Third move to throw the bucket of fish guts on the man who's confused.
Wait, throw the guts or throw the bucket?
No, throw the guts.
Yeah,
just hurl the... Yeah, absolutely. Yes, totally.
Give me a roll, please.
A roll.
It is a 1. What we did not describe is Qundle's dirty, disgusting cloak that I lose on the cat. It was pristine until this moment.
As a matter of fact, you are absolutely correct. Your cloak, which is pristine, you go to toss the bucket, and it does what you're holding it by the handle, and you kind of do the toss thing like this, expecting the bucket to just shoot its contents out. But in fact, the bucket swings around and just splatters you with fish guts. As a guy
Go ahead.
who sees this happen,
Go ahead and hit me. Your sap will smell like fish guts for days.
and it didn't just splatter you either. It splattered the fishmonger from head to toe. And he's just like, and then there's like fish guts dripping off of his face. And the angry father looks at all of this with this menace and sees you fling the bucket and just spatter both you and him head to toe in fish guts. And he just... he just loses it. He can't help it. He just loses it. And he's just like, yeah, whatever. It's paid enough. And he just walks away.
What just happened?
He gives it up. You've spattered. That was the vengeance he was after, apparently. And as he walks away, the four of you get to go and start wiping the fish guts off yourself.
Oh no. First I give the monger a copper
Oh yeah.
for the bucket.
It's worth more.
And he goes, and he points to the guy and hands you a whole fish.
You said there were people huddling at the edge of the docks that looked, homeless and hungry?
Yes.
I go give them the fish.
So, the crisis at the docks averted. The four of you go back to mingling in the crowds and waiting.
Yeah, Zell backs off real fast. He's like, oh, yeah.
I begin to see why my character didn't talk to yours for the first half of that game.
God, she's sitting with us.
You know that guy's arm on. Yeah. So the four of you go back to mingling at the dock, and not an hour later, Captain Heliana calls out, "All aboard!" And that is where we are ending this session. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Well done, everybody.